So we have one more question from Claire. And she says, how does personal thought impact thought as a whole? I can go on this one.
Go ahead and start.
Oh, so it's reversed. So personal thought cannot affect thought in itself because thought in itself is formless. And I see it like this. Thought in a whole is like the speech bubble. And personal thought is what we put in the speech bubble. The speech bubble is the container. And I think the difference between us, the humans, is that we have awareness of we have awareness of the content and the speech bubble. Whereas like an animal, they have the container, and then they have the thought, but they're not aware of their thinking. And so we are aware of our thinking, and it's a very fun, if I use the weather, that thought is the sky above the clouds, and our personal thinking is the weather. The thought, you can never change the thought. The sky above the clouds is always just clear. It's just the space in which the weather can be in. So yeah, that was my thought about that question. I don't know if you guys want to pipe in.
So there's a big difference in our personal mind and our impersonal mind. So our personal mind is our ego. Okay. It's got a lot of shit to say. Hey, it's not very nice. Our personal mind is the one that likes to play those negative feedback loops or talk us into the non-truths of you're not good enough, you'll never get that, you'll never achieve that, you'll never be that, whatever. Okay. That's our little small personal mind. Then there's our impersonal mind, which is divine mind, which is universal mind. Okay. But so that's the difference between those two minds. But one thing I want to throw in there is thought, because you asked about thought. So when it's coming from universal mind, our impersonal mind, then it's effortless, if that makes any sense. It comes in to our mind, into our awareness as an idea, as a solution, as a good feeling. It's just something that happens. We don't force that mind at all. And it's the one that our wisdom speaks from. It speaks from our impersonal minds. It speaks from divine mind. It speaks from the space within us. It speaks from all of those. So, yeah, the other one is just ego and a big fat liar. So, not nice to name call, I know. But me and ego, we don't get along very well. Well, I don't listen to it. That's pretty much it. But, Jen?
Yeah, so I kind of think of our personal thinking, our personal mind as kind of like an AI. It has been given all of this information throughout our lives, so that's what it has to work with. That is all it knows, and so it's going to come to any and every conclusion using what it already has. Okay? And our divine mind, our universal mind, universal, it is the awareness, it's the actual thinker. It's the where the life comes from. So with our personal minds, we can deal with problems as long as we can solve them with the same thinking that created them. It usually doesn't happen very often. You know, we think that we got these great ideas and we try to implement them, but because we're running on a limited amount of knowledge, it usually doesn't work out how we want it to, whether in a little way or a big way. But it still tries to prove itself. And when we can quiet that and use our personal thinking, use our personal mind as a tool to take the information we get from that universal mind and to recognize, you know, we're using our little minds, our personal minds as a tool as we learn the three principles, because we don't let them control us anymore. Now, when we feel anxiety, stress, overwhelm, it's like, ooh, okay, that's creating a problem. And if I step back and don't feed it, I will get a solution instead of just running off of, well, I might have created this problem, but if I hit it hard enough, it'll fix itself. Now I'm just rambling, so someone else talk.
Yeah. I that, and I have a very, very similar analogy. So again, the computer. So I see like the computer that has the data that's been put in it, like you were saying with the IA, but our personal mind, our wisdom and that, it's like having a computer that's not attached to the internet, and then as soon as it's attached to the internet, it has access to unlimited information. And we are the same. We can access unlimited information when we're connected to the internet. You know, sometimes we're not connected. Most of the time, we're not connected. We learn how to disconnect from it. You know, we're taught how to disconnect from it. We're taught, oh, you're crazy, you know. And I know this for a fact because I did something called the Silver Method. I don't know if any of you have heard about the Silver Method. And on the it was a 3-day event, and on the last day, we had to. It was kind of like, I mean, I'm going to say psychic, but every single one of us is psychic. You know, we all have access to that. And on the last one, we had to get 3. So each one of us, we had to get 3 people and write down information about them, and then we had to pair up. And then one of us had to like sit still and like get information, and we were only given the name and an address, nothing else. And on one of these ones, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if I can't find nothing? Anyway, I'm sitting down with one of them, and I'm seeing a picture in my mind of like an old kind of picture of like an army person, of a man in like not a black and white, but you know, like the brownie kind of color. And then I'm seeing pictures of mountains. And obviously he's quiet while he's doing it. And then at the end he said, and I said at the time, I was like, this isn't the man on your paperwork. This is his dad. And then as I've come out, he said, yeah, his dad is in the army and he was a paratrooper. And they've just come back from a trip in the mountains. I was like, what the fuck? And then I did a second one, and again I got some stuff right. And then on the third one, I was getting really tired by that point. Anyway, I said to her, I'm seeing a little boy, and I'm feeling a lot of grief. She's lost her boy, and she really wants to have kids. And I'm seeing this little like toy car, and I know it's a boy, and I can feel the grief, and like she's really struggling. Anyway, after we finished the session, she said she did not put that on her form because it was still very raw, but you were bang on. I picked that information from the internet. Every single one of us humans can do that. It's normal. It's not woo-woo.
Yes.
It's not like, we're all antennas. And we do it all the time without even realizing. You walk into a room, you can feel the energy of the room. You are picking up a signal. And when we open ourselves up even more, there is so much more signal that we can pick up on.
Yes.
That connecting to the internet. That's what will guide us to where we want to go. Not the little mind. The little mind, like Jen said, it's a tool.